And we are live. What is up, crew? Chaz
and Trista
here with a special guest, not just somebody who knows TA.
Yeah.
Not somebody who just knows a thing or two about arbitrage, but this dude, Alex Moss, created tactical arbitrage. We figured, why not just go to the top of the chain and bring this guy on, teach you guys a thing or two. Alex, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being on.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Of course. Welcome to everyone in the chat. We got a bunch of people hopping on right now. If you guys want to drop a comment below, say what's up, let us know where you're watching from. Throughout this whole stream, we're going to do our best to stay on top of questions, because I know Alex is going to, we told him ahead of time, he's going to stay busy throughout the next hour for you guys.
Right.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Anything you throw my way, it's no problem.
I love it. So we're gonna do our best to get all your guys' questions answered about online arbitrage, tactical arbitrage, and then with that, we're going to turn it over to Alex. He's going to share a bit about his story, how tactical arbitrage became a thing. And then from there, we're just going to go through, and Alex is actually going to demonstrate live for you guys the bare bone basics of tactical arbitrage. That's probably the biggest question we get, and Alex, you probably see this too, is we get a lot of people that say, oh, I used the 10-day trial and I couldn't figure out how to use it. So we wanted to get Alex on here. And thank you for your time, by the way, because he's given up his, you're a day ahead, so you're in morning time.
Yeah, I've got tomorrow's lotto numbers for you already if you need them.
That's awesome.
Your future, Alex.
Cool. How are we doing on audio and video, guys? Can you guys give me a thumbs up? Any feedback echoing? Our mic sometimes is not my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the chat. Is anybody commenting yet? Or maybe you're seeing it on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So if you open up the YouTube channel video.
Oh, it's okay. I'll just let you guys tell me what.
Okay, cool.
I'll fly blind. It's all good.
Awesome, that works. He's just gonna chill and trust us here. I love it. Sweet. You got anything to open up with?
Yeah, no, I'm seeing familiar faces. Thanks you guys for jumping in. We're really excited to just get going. So
let's
here
pick
we
some
go.
brains. Let's put them on the high seat. Alex, who are you? How'd you end up sitting here?
My name is Alex Moss, and I'm the creator of Tactical Arbitrage. What happened is when I got in, you wanted to know sort of the history of Tactical Arbitrage. When I got into the space originally some years ago, trying to find profitable items to then turn around and flip on Amazon, it just appeared to be an ordeal. I felt like I was sitting on my hands, and it's even worse being all the way over the other side of the world in Australia, because as it is, we have these restrictions in place, like the credit card company will block your card and say there's been an unauthorized overseas transaction. And you're like, no, that was me buying something on Walmart to try and sell on Amazon. And one thing after another, those little blocks combined with the fact that the arbitrage process itself was kind of painful. You had to cut and paste a title from one site, drag it across to Amazon, paste it in there, and then you'd be looking to see whether or not that item matched that item, and then you'd have to bring up the old Amazon calculator and see whether there was any profit, pencil and paper, and jot it all down. At the end of that entire process, which could take minutes per item, you would see whether or not you had to move on to the next product or consider that one for purchase. And I was thinking, there's got to be something out there to make this faster. And I was searching and searching, and there just wasn't anything. So I thought, oh, well, I'll make it. So by making it, which was purely to make it for myself and lubricate the arbitrage process so you could run hundreds and thousands of products in the course of a day, and ultimately over the course of an hour by the time we optimized everything, it just got me to the profit so much faster. So then I could go back to dealing with things like my banks canceling my credit card fees. But that's kind of, I mean, for those who don't know what arbitrage is, it's about finding those lower priced items and then turning around and selling them at a marketplace. In this case, we focus on Amazon. And so that after fees, you see what kind of return on investment there is. And a lot of the guys already watching this will know that. But essentially, we wanted to build a better mousetrap, so to speak. And once I'd made it for myself and I'd been using it for some time, we had some personal things going on at home. My father got sick and ultimately died. And during that process, my developers were sitting there going, what do we what are we going to do? You've employed us and we've gotten so far. We've made you this working product. Do we just go on to our next job? I didn't want to lose these developers. I'd spent so long trying to find them, but I certainly couldn't contribute any time to them right now. That wasn't my priority, but I didn't want them going to the next job. So I said, make it multi-userable. I know that's going to be a huge piece of architecture, making all these pieces in place so that everybody's got their unique little database. All the databases talk to a central database, and it was going to take them some time. But by giving them that task, I was able to focus on family issues. And then when I finally returned to it, they said, well, we made it multi-userable. And I said, make it live. Let's put it out there, bring it to the world, and let's see what they think of it. And so far, Tactical Arbitrage has been a success. People have used it to make a lot of money for their families, and that's really good for me to know that the product that I'm putting out there is actually also useful for other people. So it's a bit of validation for the time and effort that we put in prior to launch. Certainly come a long way since then.
Yeah, that's so awesome that, it's like it's cool to put out this product and support your family on it. But then when you know that other people are benefiting and then being able to quit their full-time jobs and spend more time with their family, and you're creating so much good out of this thing that you were just like, well, I need this for myself, and here you go, here it is to the world. And definitely I think that that's one of the things that we hear. We use it, but we know a lot of high volume sellers, and that TA is at the top of their list for tools to use all the time. So
that's good to hear. When you're sort of sitting inside the echo chamber of your office and whatnot, you don't always hear of the stories. And one of the good things about attending conferences I found is people actually come up to me and say, I wanted to thank you because of Tactical Arbitrage. We were able to do X, Y, Z for our families or for our business, and that's really nice to hear those stories firsthand. So I tried to attend a few conferences over the last few years. Bit of a flight to get over to the States, but
yeah,
always worth it.
What's your seller base like in Australia? Do you have big conferences that you're able to go to that you can talk to people?
Well, there is actually one fairly local to me, and I don't know if you know Eddie Levine. He's a big wholesale guy from Wholesale Breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Andy Slammons came over from Amazing Freedom, and they were attending this conference that was 1 hour down the road from me. And so I said, well, I might as well go. It's not heavily arbitrage centric, but because Amazon's just launched in Australia, I can see that the traction is there. And by the time that conference rolls around next year, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get hit up in every corner. But right now, I was able to walk through the hallways of the conference fairly unhindered by people, so it was good.
Next year, you're going to need bodyguards. Like, sir, you're going to need to step back from Mr. Moss.
That is hilarious. Yeah, we've been using TA for at least a couple of years now, since I first hit you up a few years ago. And since we've been using it, we've gotten to the point. That's why I love the software, because in the very beginning, before I knew about TA, I did the typical thing that every new seller does. You pull out your Amazon Sellers app, you pull up Walmart.com, and you do just what you said, where you're sitting here doing title searches the whole time, one product at a time, right? If you're lucky, you'll do like 20, 30 products in an hour, and checking Keepa and all that stuff. And so we start using it. We're able to utilize it to the point where it's like 99% outsourced now. So we've got a team of VAs that runs the scans. They provide a daily list for us that we go through and make our purchases from. So the fact that you can not only use it to do better OA sourcing and be more efficient, you could do the ultimate efficiency, which is outsourcing it. So that's been a game changer for us.
So we've recently so your VAs are going to probably hate me, because we are adding some efficiency features. I don't want to say too much, because I'm not the only one in the space these days. I think I've created a bit of inspiration for a couple of other people out there, which is, they say that's a compliment. And I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say that I will, in the near future, have even more lines of data for your VAs to examined per hour, and you may need to employ a couple more people. And this will all still be within the one account. You won't need to run multiple accounts to get this. But you know what they say, it's all about, you know, accuracy and speed. And we spent a long time on accuracy recently with the image matching algorithms. And now I've just flipped the switch over to speed. And what I'm seeing and what we are capable of doing and pushing this to the absolute thresholds, we're going to be able to fly that data from the product search into the view data page. And it's got people should be, God willing, very happy with. I never know, people are fickle. Sometimes I'll do something like add average price 30 days. Everybody's, yeah, I can't believe we never had this before. And then I'll create something, you know, colossal. It took me 3 months, and there's just whispers. I'm like, oh.
They're like, what's this guy doing? I don't need this.
Never know what to add next, but I do try really hard to listen to the buzz on the Facebook groups and what comes through the email and what gets asked for the most passionately, and we try and get a bit of guidance from that. But I know that what we're doing with speed, combined with what we've just done with accuracy, I know it's going to be extremely attractive to people. Because if you've got 7 choices out there and one choice is giving you 4 times the data, then I think that it's a pretty easy choice. So,
oh man, that's amazing. And you know, that's what I love about Alex is we've spent the last couple years watching this guy in the Facebook groups and, you know, support tickets, all that kind of stuff. And the fact that he's even sitting here on a webinar with us, like there's not a lot of owners of softwares and services that just openly give their time like that. Alex is constantly listening and like you said, just listening for ways to improve based on what the audience wants. So I know we appreciate that, and I could probably speak on behalf of everyone that uses it.
Oh man, I owe you. You're always getting me into your get fitter groups, and I've lost more than a couple of kilograms just from you being in my ear and sending me messages saying, so how's that diet going, mate? And have you been at the gym lately? And so yeah, it's paying off. So I certainly owe you more than a few favors myself.
That's awesome, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, and quick plug, if you want to be in our transformation challenge, that's coming up in a week. So hit me up.
Yeah.
That's cool. Should we take a few questions before we dive into the next part?
Yeah. So, hi, John. I was going to read your question really quick. Big question for Alex. Doesn't everyone gravitate toward the same product when using TA?
So once upon a time, this was the case. So when Tactical Arbitrage first launched, there was, you know, the main department stores in there. You've got your Walmarts, your Targets, your Kohl's, that kind of thing. And so, and often newbies will still gravitate towards those key categories like, you know, toys, Target, toys, Walmart, that kind of thing. The obvious choices. So we just added sites and added sites and added sites. And I believe that there's around 950 sourcing sites in Tactical Arbitrage at the moment. Over half of those are United States based. But your ability to search in other countries is, you know, there's nothing to stop you from doing that, from setting up accounts in the UK. And all of those stores have got different clearance sections, different promotional sections, different sales that are going on. Each of them have different cashback sites with different percentages on those cashback sites. And we also added the ability to add your own website. So let's say, for instance, you've found a site that you know has got profitable stuff, but it's not on Tactical Arbitrage. I know we've got a lot, but the internet is huge, right? It's an ocean of domains. So you found this domain with awesome profit items on there, and you really want to add that to TA. There is a add your own site section built into Tactical Arbitrage. It requires some coding, and so you'll have to like engage somebody or a service who can add that site piecemeal to Tactical Arbitrage. But the 950 sites that's in there, that's not even the limit of what you can search. So my encouragement is, if you're seeing saturation, just ask yourself if you're only really searching the main department store categories like Walmart, you know, toys or whatever. I keep going back to that one because it's such a common one people search. And then ask yourself if maybe you've got your filters too tight, because the most common products in the most common category and the most common site are going to get hit by a greater percentage of people. But as soon as you step outside into any of the other hundreds and hundreds of sites that are in there, you will find profitable items as well. And you'll often find that there's only like, 2 sellers on the item. There's often there's heaps of room out there. Not only that, but the saturation issue was such a concern for me in the earlier days that we limit our members through pricing, for one, and also we added multiple ways to scan in tactical arbitrage. So you can scan a traditional search, you can do what's called a reverse search, which is Amazon back to the different sites that are selling their products. You've got Amazon to Amazon flips, you've got library book scans, and you can run wholesale manifests and use wholesale login sites. You can scan those too. And you can actually scan all of those simultaneously. So saturation hasn't really been an issue for a long time. And I know you wanted a short answer, but hopefully I covered all angles of that.
I think you probably answered like 7 questions and all of that.
Yeah, that's solid, man. Looks like we got some feedback coming on. Wait, oh, now it's good.
Yeah, it's probably just in our ear.
It's just us.
Yeah.
You want me to turn down my my speakers? I should be using the headphones like you, because
oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, it went away, so we're good.
It's fine. Yeah.
Somebody said, I just signed up with TA. What ranking should a beginner start with?
So I think ranking is less important than the number of sales per month, because you want to like get into this turnover cycle. You want to know about how much your budget is, what you want to turn that into with a ROI, and how quickly you want to get that money back into the cycle, so that you can buy more products and keep snowballing it into this bigger and bigger amount. So we've just updated, as of yesterday, all of the United States estimated sales data. Probably in the next day, we'll have all the UK estimated sales data accurate as well. So you can see for each individual ASIN how many units that's going to sell per month. So I might add a filter in actually, which isn't there now. So that question's inspired something. If we add in a filter saying only show products that sell over 3 a month or something, it'll work out the rank for you. If it sees,
there you go.
If it sees that it's selling 3 a month, and it shows you that, and you're not interested in the ones that sell 1 a month or less, then it'll just lose those, and then you don't even have to worry about rank. But in the early days, of course, you want to look at average 30-day ranks and be really loose with your rank. You certainly don't want to see ranks of 1 million, but in toys, for example, I'll look at ranks of 400,000. It might be selling 2 units a month, and you might find nobody's on it because everyone's looking for these 100,000 ranked items, and that's where there may be a little bit of saturation. But out in the boondocks, you'll be finding all of these little products that nobody's really selling that are just consistent turnover type products, some of them with some really good margins because nobody's really hitting them. So yeah, ranks is a bit of a, it's a bit of a difficult question to answer. If you wanted to, you can go into the settings page in Tactical Arbitrage and you can set a rank per category. So you might say, okay, shoes, I don't really want to look at anything. Well, there's actually no shoes category anymore, but clothing, I don't want to look at anything over, say, 1 million. For toys, say 500,000. And one by one, you can go through and you can set those ranks, and then it'll automatically just shave any ranks above that as it searches. But the estimated sales filter, that's a good idea. So thank you to the question asker there, whoever that may have been.
Yeah,
that's
write it down.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely jot that one down. That's a really good point you bring up too. That's probably the number one thing that we always hear is people are running scans and they come back with no results. And the first question that, especially in the Tactical Arbitrage group, we see this asked, and people are always setting their rank filters way too tight because they're looking for, like you said, 100,000 or below rank. They're looking for a $5 profit, and they're just way too tight on those things. And what I tell some of our VIP members is, if you've got a product that, like a toy that's ranked 400,000, I'll use an example. I actually had a toy that was ranked 800,000 when I scanned it in Target, and there was only 2 units. They were $9 each. So I wasn't that deep on price. So I bought them because I looked at Keepa and I saw that they were only ranked that high because the 2 merchant filled sellers were priced over $100, which I thought was way too high for that. And I looked at Keepa and saw that the last FBA sale happened at about $90. So we were only looking at like a $15 difference, and there was no current FBA. So that's why the rank was that high. So I came in FBA. I sold both units within 2 weeks for $90. So that was
amazing. That is
prime example
of like loosening your filters. 800,000 rank. That's even beyond my recommendations. So that's fantastic.
I'm a risk taker. I was like $18. I'll just buy them and send them in and see what happens, because I looked at those missing pieces.
Yeah, we're crazy.
That's awesome. That's great.
Next one up looks like how to customize the view products page. I have seen many videos that have the Keepa charts visible in an easy, quick glance, but I can't figure out how to set it up.
So I can show you that. I can.
Yeah,
share my
I think
screen.
that's a perfect segue.
Sure.
So let's switch over. Alex is going to do a screen share and basically show you guys TA, the features of it, and how the whole thing works. And
All
I
right.
think, are you up for finding a product?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He's going to find you guys a product right now and show you exactly how this beast works.
Suddenly, he's gonna find this great product, and there's gonna be like 40 people on the list.
You guys better. Who's got TA open on another tab right now?
How's that screen size? Because my screen's massive. It's like 4,000 pixels wide. So I'm trying to just show you the box inside.
Yeah,
Yeah, that looks good.
Perfect.
It's all right. I can, if anyone shouts out that they need me to blow it up a little bit, I can. It's fine.
Looks like you can. Yeah, you can go a little bit wider on that.
Little wider.
Yep. Looks like you can go a little bit bigger.
How's that?
Sweet. Perfect.
Okay. So now I should actually give a little shout out to a tool that Nate McAllister made the other day, which even I use to try and find products, right? Which is called tacticalsearchengine.com. It's a free tool. He doesn't actually do anything. I think he might ask you for your email address when you sign up, but it's basically a search engine to help you to find where to start searching on tactical arbitrage. So tactical search engine, if I just type in there buy one, get one, or BOGO is another thing I could type, it just searches the sites that are currently on TA. So that makes it nice and easy to actually find items that might be profitable. Otherwise, you can certainly go into product search and just go, one by one through each of the sites and try and find deals. Otherwise, I would suggest you sign up to like newsletters of these sites. You could open up your own Gmail account exclusively just to get all of the spam these guys are going to send you, and wait for the promotional emails to come through, like 15% off green creative LED lighting. I guarantee that would have come out in a newsletter from 1000 Bulbs earlier in the week. And that is a really good way to collect deals, by subscribing to lots and lots of newsletters. There is also a couple of services out there which collate, such as Tactical Buckets. Another site. They actually collate all of the deals. But what you're essentially looking for is these kinds of promotions here: 15% off, and then you're going to be using that in your search. So I'm going to go back to Tactical Arbitrage or tacticalsearchengine.com, because it'll be a nice, easy way for me to find one. It's kind of a little cheat for me. Does it buy one, get one free? And you can see on the page here that Lids has got some buy one, get one stuff. You've got Ulta, you've got vitamins and supplements. Target's got some stuff. And if I go BOGO, see Swanson's and Vitacosts, so on and so on and so on. So Vitamin World has got some buy one, get one free stuff. And they also have, 40% off site-wide, plus take an extra 10% off anything over $50. Well, it's pretty easy to spend $50 in this game. You've kind of put me on the spot here a bit, so I'm going to just...
That's a sweet deal going on that site. I got to let my VA know.
Yeah.
Oh, I also use a tool called Rev ROI. Now, it's good to have like a certain collection of tools that sort of work symbiotically. So besides maybe the search page or one of the other ways to find who's got a promotion on, a tool like Rev ROI, which is a Christopher Grant tool, will tell you who's got cashbacks on certain sites. So Top Cashback has 8%, Rebates Me has 11%. There's no discount gift cards. And I'm going to be putting all of that stuff into my search. So we'll go Vitamin World. And
did you guys see how many stores were just on that drop down alone? Like
there's a lot. And once upon a time, the universal product code sites, which is essentially the barcode on the bottom of any product, were the best sites to use. Now, universal product code matching against Amazon universal product code is going to be pretty close to 100% match, with the main changes being that sometimes they change labels of items, but they don't change packaging on items, but they don't necessarily change the UPC. So that's where UPC matching can get a little shaky, especially with products like vitamins. So we might see some bad eggs in amongst that. But title and image is great because we use a proprietary algorithm which combines like thousands of little tiny checks of all the different angles of the images, and we compare that against the title to try and narrow down the correct product to show you. So once upon a time, I would have said UPC was by far the best, but now title and image, I think, is on a par, and in some cases even more accurate when using the best matching score items. So so it used to be that only the UPC sites were the good sites, but with the new algorithm, it's really unlocked all of these sites here as being useful. And there is a lot, and you'll end up getting which are your favorites. You might be an automotive guy, so you like stick to the four-wheel parts and whatnot, or some people really specialize on pet stuff, and there's plenty of pet stores. If I go down here, you've got Pet Edge, Petco, Pet Flow, Pet Mountain, Pet Smart, Pet Supplies. There's a lot of pet stuff anyway. So there is every single category in tactical arbitrage, and anybody who tells me that they can't find products, I think hasn't really done enough exploring yet, because it doesn't take long to find profitable items, especially when you put in and I'll use that segue, especially when you put in your store price adjustments. It is the most important filter in tactical arbitrage. If I had to make a simplified page of this, and I may be doing that, basically a newbie page, it would be basically select the store, select the category you want to search, enter your source price adjustments, and then tactical arbitrage will do all the rest. We'll only show you the profitable ROI stuff, and we'll automatically show you something which has got an estimated sales of over a couple, and we'll just kind of do all the rest. So we're probably going to be making a newbie version, and that variant I expect to be about 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks away. But for now, make sure you put something in the source price adjustment. So in this case, we know that there's 10% off the existing 40% off at Vitamin World, and there's also 11% off using a cashback site. I will remove average 30-day ranks of, let's just put in 400,000 just for something. And I just put any profitable ROI, honestly, because I'll show you why. Even I just put in 5% there. Do you say, well, I want 50%, I want 100%? Yeah, sure, I totally understand that. But if you find a ranked item of, say, 3,000 rank, and it's only got 10% ROI, and you just know it's going to sell, like bang, 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 and you're ungated for it, and it looks like there's not many sellers on it, and this totally happens because people put in like high return on investments here, and they miss seeing that item. So you got to ask yourself, if that money's just sitting in the bank, getting 3% per year, or would you rather send in a whole bunch of stuff at 10% return that's going to sell really quickly that month, and then flip it again and again and again and again? So I never ignore lower return on investment items. The other thing is that lower return on investment item might be only because there is one rogue seller who's selling his stuff too cheap. And then once he sells his 3 items, then the next seller in the list is actually $4 higher. And this happens more often than you think. You see the list of sellers. I'll just start a search while I'm babbling. You see the list of sellers, and the first guy is priced at like $12.50, and then the guy above him might be $15. And you think to yourself, well, if this guy just sells his 3 products, which according to my estimated sales is going to happen in the next 2 weeks, then it's going to be $15 city, and then we can make a decent amount of ROI. So that's another tactic. Don't start selling 1 cent under the $12.50 guy, because then you'll be $12.49, and then you're going to start this whole cascading effect where people price 1 cent under you and 1 cent under you. If you know that somebody's just got a few items to sell before it pops back up to $15, let it pop back up. Customers will still pay that. So anyway, it's plowing through these little items here, and it's finding products checked 63, products added 3. Now, products added is probably my favorite word when using tactical arbitrage, because it gives me some treasure to look at. Not all the treasure will be good. Some of the treasure will be not so good, but at least it gives us something to look at. Before I leave this page, I should show you as well that we also have logs, so you can see what's going on. It'll tell you why we skipped something. See, in this instance, I can see that something was skipped with a rank of 423,050. Now, are my filters too loose? Is that 423,000 ranked items selling 4 units a month and with a high return on investment? I'll never know because I filtered it out. So it's important for you to not over filter. Certainly do filter, but don't over filter. And like Charles said before, if you apply too many filters, you will eliminate much of what you needed to see. So I'm going to pop across to the view data page and see some of these products starting to appear now. Okay, that should. All right. So with our discounts applied, so the product was originally $3.90, and it's got an adjusted price of $3.47 for this organic Dr. Aloe Vera conditioner. And I can see that it's selling for $9.99. So this isn't going to be a very profitable product. There's only $1.82 in it. Now, there was a question before about showing the keeper charts and whatnot, so I should just quickly address that now. At the top of the page, we've got a thing called Manage Columns. Sorry, I've just stretched my page out and probably made it go wonky. So Manage Columns, and if I hit Manage Columns, there's all my columns on here. And I can actually move them around on here. So if I've got the keeper graph actually right down the end, so I'm going to move that right up next to the image so that you can see it. And I'll save that. Now that's going to retain that setup for the next time I log into TA. If I don't like it there, I can just grab it at the top here and I can shift it along to wherever I want it to be. And if I feel like it's making my rows too expanded, because keeper graph does that, I can actually turn that column off completely. But people do like to see the keeper graph turned on. So I understand that. It's one of the most useful pieces of data in TA. And I've got a good relationship with the guys over at Keeper. So you can turn that back on. And in addition to the estimated sales column that's there now, you can also see this familiar looking drops where a sale occurs here as well. So this is actually an interesting site because it appears that there is quite a lot of items. Some of them maybe have thin margins, maybe too thin for us, but others may be very interesting. So let's drill into one of these items. I've got a feeling this one's going to be, this particular item's got too big a margin. I've got a feeling that this is one of those rare cases where the image is matched so perfectly and so nicely, but this is a 90 count of soft chews, and I'm going to guess that this is going to be a lower count because that's such a big margin. Yeah, it's 30 chews for that one, so I'm going to remove that row. It does happen sometimes. What have we got here? B12 soft chews. This is more like it. We have a $9.60 adjusted price on this. Over at Amazon, it's $26.40. Return after fees, $19.23. It's a $9.63 gross profit. I'll see if it'll. This is 30 chews versus. Where do I see that?
So exciting. I can't stand it.
It's 30 chews. So there you go. So there is that's got some pretty good sales history there. I'm just going to make sure that that's
treasure hunting.
That's in stock, $11.99. Add the extra 10% off on top of that. And then you add your 11% cash back from your cashback site. And so there's a profitable item right there. And that's just from one search. But there's profitable items everywhere, all over the internet. I'm not even remotely surprised that we found one. If I was to clear this entire search, so stop this and delete that search, and just go to a really uncommonly searched, one of the toy ones, like Fat Brain Toys, or we got Miniature Market. So we go Miniature Market, and we've got a cool little system here on the side called Easy Bulk. Now, Easy Bulk allows you, and this is actually a tactical bucket joint collaboration. So Tactical Bucket is a great service by a guy called Yavi San-Juan, and he'll actually help you also add sites piecemeal to Tactical Arbitrage over and above the domains we already have in there. But we have a collaboration with him where we've managed to build this Easy Bulk system in here, and I don't know how we would live without it now. So we go in here and we choose role-playing games or something, and we add that. Oh, I hadn't refreshed the page from the last search.
It's probably one of my favorite features to use.
It's super simple, hey? You just go add to bulk, and then let's just go look for a return on investment of anything over 1%. I won't do rank filter or anything. We'll just have a quick scan. So that's going to start searching Miniature Market. And if it finds anything with a profitable item at all, I've got very little in the way of filters. I didn't even put a store price reduction. I failed to go and have a look. Now, I recommend you always try and find if they've got any promotions on, any savings on, any cashback sites, any discount gift cards, and you should stack those in here as best you can, because if you do find any return on investment at all, it says products added 10. So I'm going to, I haven't put anything in there, so this is interesting. But my rank filter was was not touched. So we do have some of these unranked items in here. What's this guy here? Okay, that literally is a 1% ROI. I'm going to just jump into this guy. I've got this feature called Tactical Edge. Sorry, I keep expanding the screen and making it jump around. I'll move this around and hit this microscope. Now, Tactical Edge is going to tell me some basics about this. Now, we used to be able to get the exact number of items each seller has. Now we can only really get it if it's under 10 items. I can see, though, that there is, this guy's got 5 items. Now, we're looking at an estimated monthly sales of 12 of these a month. So this first guy here, his name is Legit MTG. He has 5 in stock. The next guy, who's priced at the exact same price point as him, has 1 of these in stock. Now, they're both merchant fulfilled, so they may restock at any time. But the guy above him, now the fact that it's merchant fulfilled also should let you realize that you can price higher than this. If you've got an FBA product in there versus a MF product, I'd definitely add a couple of dollars or more, and you'll still get that buy box more often than the merchant fulfilled guys. Anybody who's operated a few cycles of selling on Amazon knows that the FBA sellers are preferred for the buy box. But anyway, after these guys, we do have somebody who's got more than 10 items in stock, and he might be one that it says 10 plus. He may have 200, but the good thing is A, he's merchant fulfilled, and B, he's $43.70. So let's say this guy sells out these 6 items, and then we can come in at the matched price, or actually, because we're FBA, this guy's MF as well, we can come in at, say, $46. Now we're looking at a much better ROI. So I'm a bit intrigued, because I guarantee you that nobody else would have thought about selling this product, but I'm in with a chance on it. So I'm going to go across and actually change my buy box to $56.98. Sorry, here, so it's $43 after fees, so $56.98. I'm going to change that to $59.99, and I'm going to see what happens to the ROI after I do that. Okay, so now there's a 25% ROI there. So I'm more interested now. See, I can see it's got regular sales, but there's only a couple of guys in front of me. The products match. I might not want to go too deep on it because there is a few factors at play, but I would probably take a risk on 3 of those and send them on in and see what happens, because this game is about tactics, and we call it tactical arbitrage for a reason, because looking at the landscape for each product and making tactical decisions based on the history of the item and then the projected trajectory of the item is going to put you in a much better position to make these calculated decisions to increase your bottom line where others wouldn't. So it is important for you to start playing the game and playing it like it's a battlefield, and like examining every angle of the space. And that's why we keep on adding these additional little tools, so that you can be more informed about a product before making a decision on what to do with it. And as I go down here, I mean, that was the more complicated ones, but there's some real easy hits down here as well. What do we got? So I've got some in-column filtering going on up here as well. So it's actually only showing me stuff over 1%, which I did that in the search, but I've also got some column filtering in here already saying only show me items up to 400,000. But although I didn't put the rank in the actual filter search, I actually have some column filtering at play that I hadn't removed from a previous search, which is why the items that I'm seeing actually do seem to have some sales behind them. So there's little places for you to actually filter or change things or examine the scenario everywhere within tactical arbitrage. I know it can feel a little bit like a cockpit of a jet engine when you first climb into it, but in its simplest form, you're running a search on a category and you're looking for profitable items. You're comparing that they're a match. You're checking they've got sales, and you're making a decision based on that. Now, I've been asked a little bit, can I see if the item is restricted for me to sell or not within tactical arbitrage? Now, I have a problem with that, and I haven't actually announced this anywhere publicly at all, but I am risking a terms of service breach with Amazon, and I mean, I'm in my hands are trusted seller IDs, and members have trusted to put their confidential information into tactical arbitrage to use their tool. If I start breaching the terms of service, Amazon's terms of service from right within the pages of tactical arbitrage, then I'm not being responsible with people's data. So there are actually some tools out there that will do it. And there are some tools out there that will let you check for restricted products that don't require you to put your seller ID into them. And I totally recommend those tools. I'm in negotiations at the moment with a guy called Matt Colvin. He's a lovely guy. He has a tool which allows you to see if an item is restricted or not, and it doesn't require you to insert the seller, your seller ID. I'm in talks with him to allow him to let his tool work as a Chrome extension, but with the view data page. So that'll be really cool because A, it's not Tactical Arbitrage who's doing anything directly with Amazon, and I've got your seller IDs and stuff and possibly doing something irresponsible, but you should still get the same kind of results you want by utilizing this third-party tool. So it's kind of a smart way of giving people what they want without actually, while mitigating the risk, if that makes any sense. So I know I jump around a lot, but long story short, there's profit on this page and there's profit on a lot of pages as long as you're prepared to do your searches the right way. And I'm open for any more questions because I know I've been rambling for a hot minute there. I apologize.
No, it's good. It's a lot of really great information.
Yeah, I love it. And if you're brand spanking new to this and you've never even seen TA or you just heard about it but don't know what it is, this can be super overwhelming. One of our mods, Gretchen, actually nailed it earlier. She said it's overwhelming and yet amazing all at the same time.
Yeah. But also, I mean, a lot of people, when they first start out, are doing RA as hard as they can. They're going to stores, you know, every spare second that they have. We have a lot of parents that are always like, how do you get the sourcing time in? And this is a really good fit for people who don't have the time. You found 2 products and the time it would take to go to a store.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, I'm actually a bit surprised because I've completely broke my rules with Miniature Market. I don't have any of my store price reductions in there. That just goes to show how few people are exploring all of the options that are available to search within Tactical Arbitrage. I mean, what's wrong with Miniature Market? Miniature Market's a totally valid site with some great products, and it's got an avid fan base of users who like those tabletop and role-playing games. And yet, although I know the rank is filtering it out on the next page with that rank filter, but I've got products added 91 here. I'd need to drill into that a bit more to see what's going on there. But, and you know what, I'm not sending stuff into my Seller Central account in the States at the moment. I've got an ethics issue with that because I feel like people feel like I've got an unfair advantage and people want to trust me with their own saved data. And if I suddenly start, you know, making it big, you know, selling items on Amazon, then people are going to say, well, where are you getting all your deals from and that kind of thing. So I have an ethics issue with running it myself. I am starting to send some stuff into the Amazon Australia store, primarily because I need to be able to speak confidently to people locally about the cycle here, because we have some courier issues and some, you know, getting products in their issues. I need to experience every aspect of that. But as soon as I'm down with a couple of cycles of that, I'll be stopping it again. But otherwise, if I was going to be sending some stuff into my United States Seller Central account right now, I'd be thinking, wow, I need to get scanning on Miniature Market this afternoon. And there's heaps of sites like that. And that's one of the reasons this new feature is going to be so cool, because we want you to be able to scan even more at once. So I'm going to not say any more about that.
Dang it, I'm so excited for that.
That's going to be so cool. I'm just so pumped. I've mapped out the entire architecture. We've gone through all the developer meetings. We've worked out, we've got proof of concepts. We know what we want to do is completely possible. And the build is taking place. And oh man, I can't tell you what it is. I have to just wait and see.
We can't see your face, Alex, but I just love how much I can tell how passionate you are about what you're doing, just because it comes through your voice. You're so excited about just serving these people who will definitely benefit from your software.
Oh, I'm pumped. I can't wait. Like, I go to sleep at night and it's midnight and the whole family's asleep. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know, if we do this API call a different way, we can actually increase the speeds on this by half a second per and then I wake up and I reach for the phone and it's 5:50 in the morning. I've had no sleep at all. And if I do this and do that, but so I need to compartmentalize, because I walk out and then the kids are awake and I need to put the wall up and I need to hold the baby, we got a little 9-month-old at home, and I have to compartmentalize and make sure that, work time is work time and home time is home time, which is why I just moved to an external office, because it was all overlapping in the house, and I had to get out, and you know what that's like. So
we definitely do. We've just moved into an office about 6 months ago, and it's changed everything. It's really been great. So I think there's a few more questions that we want to answer. We don't want to take up too much more of your time, Alex.
Okay.
This is a really good topic. Is how many products should you send in? Should you test it with 3 and then send in more, or just go for 10 to 20? So that's kind of going along like a test buy versus knowing when to go a little bit deeper on a product.
So, I've got some thoughts on this, but I'd also like to throw it over to you guys as well to hear your thoughts. My thoughts is, when you're starting out and you're cautious and you're wanting to dip your toe in the water, you should definitely go wider than deeper. Now, you will miss some opportunities where you could have gone deeper, and I've been in that scenario a lot of times where I go, damn it, I could have sent in 30 of those, and I only sent in a couple. But then there's been times that I've been really glad that I only sent in a couple, because I wasn't quite as familiar with analyzing the complete overview of a product in the early days, and I may have ended up with some dead stock by, in the early days, you used to buy from, lists and things that 200 people were like jumping on, and you didn't anticipate some of the races to the bottom that would occur. And so a lot of guys like me in the early days too got caught with some stock there, and luckily the storage fees weren't quite as bad back then, but they've jacked up a bit over time. So yeah, long story short, start by going what we call wide, just a couple of units, and then when you get more confident, start going deeper. You get a lot of confidence about the projected trajectory of that product, then maybe start getting half a dozen or a dozen, and go from there. But I'd like to hear sort of your experience, what you think the landscape looks like now, and if it's similar to that.
I would agree with that. Go wide before you ever go deep on anything. My general rule of thumb is, as a test buy, I'll do anywhere between 3 and 5 units, depending how fast those sell and for what my projected ROI is. If I get what I want out of it fairly quick, then I'll go 10 and 20 deep on it. And you also have to look at, we're dealing with OA, which is retail websites. Some of these guys are going to limit you 2, 3 per order. So then you have to, and that's kind of a gray area. So I'm not going to go into like tactics to get around retailer sites. That's up to you to determine what you want to do. But you got to find ways to work around. There's different ways to do it, but just do your research. It's all out there. So that's kind of my ball game with it.
Right. And it's also, it can be seasonal. You're not going to buy as much during, July as you will in October because of Q4. So there's a lot of things that go into play as well. So it depends on if it's a replenishable item that people buy weekly or monthly versus something that everyone buys like once a year, and then that's it. So there's so many variables.
Oh, I love this. Andre, my friend, thank you for the super chat.
Andre.
Got to hang out with this guy. One of our VIP and our daily OA list members. I got to meet up with him in RMRC, which is a conference we just got back from. He said, I was ready to drop the program last week, but folks who are top earners at the RMRC event showed me how to work the filters, and TA works. It's time to learn it, but give it time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We have 2 types of members. We can obviously see in the back end how long people stick around for. So we either get people who go in the trial who maybe just want a quick peek and then sort of leave, or we get people who sort of leave in the first month because they didn't really get it, and then there's a big gap, and then everybody else is like, I've been with it for 8 months or 12 months or 18 months, because once they start utilizing it as an essential tool for their business, they would never let it go, kind of thing. So it's just, there is that initial learning curve, but when you compare that to sort of, think about a college education where you're there for years and years and years, and you might come out the other side struggling even to get a job, and even then you might end up earning less than the arbitrage game. So I think it's a small investment. It's a month's worth of education, and then when you get it, when it all just clicks, then you can sort of start freeing yourself from the 9 to 5, I believe. It might take some while. Depends on your capital. Everybody's different. Every scenario is different. I wouldn't say go out and quit your job tomorrow, But if you have had some success and you can see that it's escalating, we are heading into Q4. I can't see things slowing down at this point. So, make your own decisions based on your own situation.
Mm-hmm. And it really is like what Alex says, like in the beginning, I think the part that detours people is just seeing all the filtering that can happen. This is why Alex mentioned he's going to be coming out with a little toggle, a little button you hit, and it clears out half that stuff. So you just see a beginner's version. That's going to be amazing. But once you figure out just the basics of running a few different filters, it all becomes fairly simple. I'm actually getting ready to just a couple hours ago, we decided I'm going to do a series here on YouTube, and I'm just going to take like 250 or 300, maybe $500. And I'm just going to document 100% using TA. And I'm going to try to work my way up to like 5 or 10 grand in profit and see how fast I can do that just on TA. So I'm going to document the whole series. I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes. I won't show you which product exactly I'm buying at the time. I'll show it later on at the final results video, but I'm going to show you guys what filters I'm using, how I'm checking for the Keepa charts and all that stuff. I'll just blur out what the product is, but I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes exactly how to do that.
Right. And that's like what? Like $300. People spend that at Starbucks every month. So like
looks like we got another question. In Alex's opinion, do I have to have the full suite to do well, or can I do it with just a basic subscription?
No. So recently we thought, well, I think some people are sort of scared off by our pricing model because we had the online arbitrage section at 107 and the full suite at 147. So we dropped the online arbitrage down to 99. And honestly, online arbitrage is all you need to get started. If you are also into wholesale, we added a new tier, which is an online arbitrage / wholesale tier as well. So both of those would be good for you, but there's nothing to stop you from starting on one and then talking to our support about moving up to another tier when you feel that you're ready for that. The library book scanning is fairly niche. You want to kind of be a book selling kind of guy to need that one. And Amazon to Amazon flips is also excellent to get into, but maybe not necessary for a beginner. I would say that's more of an intermediate step. So possibly just start with the online arbitrage, $99 a month tier. Stick with that for a month or so, and then if you wanted to introduce anything else, you can later.
Yeah, perfect. Merch Maniac brought up a really good point too, is also many of the stores are starting to ban buyers from their sites, such as Target and Kohl's. So that's another thing I mentioned earlier. Some of these websites are anti-reseller friendly. So you gotta play it safe with those. Like Target, for example, is the #1 out there that's known for banning bulk buyers. So don't go in there. And if they limit you for, let's say 3 items is what you're allowed to check out with for an item, don't create 3 or 4 or 5 different accounts and reorder those. That's a very quick way to get banned. So what are your thoughts on like the different retailers that do that?
Yeah, so my thoughts are that some of the retailers out there are actually pro arbitrage, anything to get that turnover happening. So don't just live inside. I mean, the other guys need to have a good front of house to their regular customers, that the specials that they advertise in their catalogs that hit everybody's doorstep are going to be available when those people rock up, 9 a.m. with little Susie to try and buy the new actual. So I totally understand their stance and why they intend to make it a little difficult. There is certainly ways around it, and a lot of places. There's a lot of methods to do it. Using a very well-known prep house would be more likely to get flagged because they're aware of the address. You're always sending it to the same address everybody else is sending it to. So maybe for the really good department stores, you should use your home address, try and stay within the limits, prep that stuff yourself. And for the other stores, I mean, I haven't had any problems. The only one I had a problem with, which most people have a problem with, is ThinkGeek. ThinkGeek seems to be pretty good at stopping people from buying from them, and most people
got banned on that one.
Most people don't get more than 4 or 5 orders into ThinkGeek before you get that dreaded email. And and I certainly even tried to set up a second account there, but they know.
Oh yeah,
they know.
I didn't even get an email. I just went to log in one day and I was like,
Yeah.
And I only ordered 3 different SKUs, 5 units each.
Yeah.
That was it. And then I got blocked off of that.
And then 2 of the products they were glass and they came broken. And so I wanted to return them and they wouldn't let me take them just to a retail store to return them. They wanted me to go through the whole thing online. No. And so I'm like giving the customer service rep my information and she's like, well, you're not in our system. And I'm like, well, you probably deleted me. That's why.
And you guys can see like this is just part of the business, right? You're going to have little hiccups here and there, but those times are so far and few in between.
Yeah,
like,
they're very rare.
You're going to have way more success as long as you just move on, get past that stuff. The little tiny, the amount of stores that will actually ban you is so small. They're like Alex said, there's 950 plus websites to scan from. Mm-hmm. That's why I never worry about saturation and I don't worry about websites that don't like me. There's 900 others.
When people talk about the stores they got banned from, I just always hear the same 3 all the time. But that is less than 1/3% of the stores on Tactical Arbitrage. So expand your horizons, people.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Loosen up on those ranks a little bit.
So it looks like we got time for a few more questions. Say you bought a product and send a product in and a price war breaks out. How long do you let it sit at your price before dropping the price?
So this is where the new estimated sales figures are really good. You're going to be able to sort of get a good look at when there's a price war, almost inevitably it's new sellers who pricing that once another, or they're using their repricer that they just signed up to way too aggressively, and they probably have gone wide. So chances are there's they've only got a few units each. I mean, everybody's different. Once again, try and use the Tactical Edge tool to get an indication of how many each of these people are selling, and then use their estimated sales number to try and get an idea of how long it's going to be before it gets to your product. You'll know then whether or not you're going to be hit with some massive storage fees before it comes your turn. My advice is don't join the race to the bottom. If it looks like that stuff's going to sell out in the next 2 weeks or maybe a month, and then it'll pop back up, because they will have all bought from the same sale, the same clearance or whatever. So that's not necessarily going to repeat. So the price should, for all intents and purposes, pop back up to where it was. So you can almost estimate what that keeper graph's going to look like in the near future. And that's your job, is to estimate how it's going to look and then base your price accordingly. I don't recommend getting into the pricing war, because then you become part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. And I use the same method. The same thing I tell people with retail arbitrage. If you're dealing with clearance items from like Walmart and Target, it's probably like the number one thing new sellers send in. You've got to be first in or last out. There's no middle ground with that. You either get your stuff sent in ASAP, cash out quick for a lower ROI, or you wait for all the low ballers to sell out and then you get yours at the end. But that can take a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on your product.
That's it. And the same with anything, whether it's the stock market or cryptocurrency or anything, you only realize your profit or your loss when you sell. So if you make a decision to sell that at a loss to you, then that's you deciding to make no money. So it's really up to you to gauge the landscape accordingly. I do understand the panic mentality of a brand new seller. And some people are in this space, and they may have put all their eggs in this basket. The whole farm is on FBA working for them because it's their last shot at it. And I hear this a lot. And for starters, I tell people, well, you shouldn't put all your eggs into one basket. You should always leave yourself with room. But you will make mistakes on the way to success. Every time you make a mistake, you'll actually learn from that. And I know that's been said so many times, but in this industry, I think it's really, really clear, because it works in cycles. You purchase your product, you send it in, there's the sale process, then the money comes back into you, and then you can start it again. And along that cycle, you might find that you made a bad buying decision. You forgot to use your cashback link, and you didn't apply your cashback, or you used a bad, not well-known cashback site who's never going to pay you out. And then the next time you realize, I used Top Cashback this time, and Top Cashback paid me really well. And then you'll learn something else, and then you'll learn, I got involved in the race to the bottom and I made no money, but next week the price popped back up, and you'll learn that. And you'll learn that every cycle, every iteration, and it might take you a few, you'll become a better and better FBA seller. And there is a surprisingly large statistic of people who start FBA who end up dropping out. Now, we have a surprisingly high statistic of people who join tactical arbitrage who actually keep using it. So that says something, that when you use a tool that is actually assisting you with the business, you're more likely to actually stick with selling on Amazon moving forward. So I just say, don't be afraid to make a few mistakes. I know it's been said in every webinar in the history of webinars, but do let yourself stumble and pick yourself back up every time. Don't beat yourself up too hard about it. You might have lost a bit of money one week, but you're not going to make that same mistake twice. Why would you? I mean, who's going to make the same mistake twice? The idea is you learn from it, and then you send stuff in again. You're more cautious, or you're more sensible, or you're more tactical, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, I really like the analogy you use with, going to a college. Do you get an A on every test that you take? Like, not usually. I mean, some people do. I didn't. but you're always learning, and we have been in this for a little over 2 years. We're always learning, and we talk to people who've been in this for 10 years, and they're still learning. There's always learning to be done.
It's great. And a lot of the guys who've been in it for 10 years have sat down with me and given me their expertise about things that I could add to tactical arbitrage. And I'm eternally grateful for that, because as much as I think I know how to make this the best tool possible for me, if you don't have your ears open to the people who've been there before you, then you can't make yourself better. So I'm always open to suggestions, and anybody who's using the tool is encouraged to send in emails. And we've got a live chat feature in the tool now as well, which helps get you your answers quicker. But we're always open to suggestions, and communication is the most important thing.
Outstanding.
Awesome.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I think we hammered through most of the questions. Alex is friggin' amazing. And if you guys haven't learned how powerful this tool is yet, and you want to get into it, we've got a little special that Alex is going to offer up for us. So if you want to talk a bit about what you're going to offer up, that would be amazing. So
have you got your Rockstars?
Yeah, it's just a code is going to be Rockstar, ROCKSTAR. And I'll actually drop that down in the chat for you guys too.
So what I'm going to do, and I don't normally do this, because there's a reason why I don't do this. It's because every time I do this, existing members come at me and say, adjust my price too. But I'm going to do a, see, this is going to be on YouTube for a while, isn't it? That's a problem, because people are going to watch this.
Yeah, so here's the thing: is anyone watching the recording? I usually have to do this. Is like, it's only going to be good for now, which is June 5th, 2018, up until whenever we set for the first webinar. So really around June 5th, over the next 48 hours is basically what you guys have.
Okay, so I haven't done this in a year, but I'll do this for you guys since you've said, what is the deal you're going to do for me? And I really hate leaving people without some kind of deal. Anybody, for the next 48 hours from this moment, I'll make the Rockstars coupon 10% off. But I'm going to have to, like, as soon as this video ends, I'll quickly adjust that in the back end and then readjust it in 2 days. So anybody who's using that code right now, if you've already used it, message me, as long as it's in the next 2 days. But if you're going to use it, wait until we've finished this live stream about 5 minutes after, and I'll make sure that it's adjusted by 10% for. So that's going to be permanent off the life of your subscription. So let's say you're on the $99 one, you'd be like $89 per month. If you're on the $149 one, that'll be dropping down to what's $135 or whatever it is. So that's not a deal that will happen again, or has happened in the last long time. So
oh man, so
wow. Thank you, Alex.
We didn't actually know Alex was going to do that deal.
Yeah.
So that is incredible. Thank you, man.
No worries, man. I feel like I owe you. Like you said, you've helped me shave a few kilos, and hopefully more.
Oh man, that's amazing.
I definitely owe you guys. And of course, your code gives a 10-day extended trial, not a 7-day trial. So you get that extra time to decide if you even want to commit to it after the in the 10 days rather than 7 sort of thing. So
yeah.
I'll definitely make that modification to your code though as soon as I get offline, so that anybody watching this now can benefit.
Cool, I appreciate it. So we had somebody ask if that was 10% off for the 1 month or as long as the life.
For the life.
So that like
You guys,
so Alex and I we
am-
literally did not talk about this beforehand, so
Yeah.
I had no idea that was going to be
But I
it.
love you guys, and
That's awesome. Sweet, man. Well, we
I'm gonna
appreciate
have all the other
it.
affiliates come to me now and say,
Oh, I love it.
no.
And another thing that we're going to do for you guys too is anyone who does sign up over the next 48 hours, whatever that would be, would that let's see, Tuesday,
Today
Wednesday,
is
so it'll be
Tuesday.
Thursday evening Pacific time. Alex offered up as well to host a private webinar as like a help you guys get jump started type of deal, which is going to be great because there's a lot of questions once you get into the trial. And Alex wanted to offer that up as well as do a little private webinar for you guys.
yeah, so we could do one perhaps. So maybe we do it sort of about the halfway mark of the trial. So that let's say from now, maybe we do it in another week or something, which is getting sort of within the 10 days. And then people can ask the questions as people who are currently using it, and maybe they've got into the trenches a bit and they've got all these new questions. We could hit this again next week, same time, and go over any of the questions that have arisen in that time.
Outstanding.
If that's good for you, if that works for you, and if it doesn't, we could do it later in the month, or up to you. We can definitely do something like that.
Absolutely
That
perfect.
sounds
I think
great.
that would help newbies out the most because I think the most amount of overwhelm feeling they're going to have is in those first 10 days during that trial. So I think that's an amazing setup. And we seriously appreciate everything that you're providing because Alex doesn't have to spend his hour here, over an hour now. He doesn't have to spend his extra 2 hours doing these webinars for you guys. So I just want to let you know how much we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No problem at all. So I'm going to adjust your code, and don't forget to use the coupon code when you check out to apply that. And if you go to do it now and it hasn't applied the discount, then just wait a minute and try again, and then it'll happen. Is it Rockstar or Rockstars?
Rockstar, no S.
Right.
Rockstar. So you use the coupon code Rockstar when you're checking out, and then that discount will apply for the life of your membership. And you'll be in an exclusive club.
Oh my gosh.
That is nuts.
That's like Apple throwing a 10% sale. That doesn't happen.
This doesn't happen.
Of course, we knew this question would pop up. What about existing users? Cancel and resubscribe.
You don't need to cancel or resubscribe. Just message myself or my support privately. It has to be within the 48 hours of this sale. Sale. It's a fire sale over at Arbitrage. It has to be within the next 48 hours, and we will adjust your membership rate accordingly for existing users. I'm happy to do that for you, no problem at all.
Man, we appreciate you. So I'm just going to put a timestamp on this for anyone watching this right now, especially if you're watching the recording after the 48 hours. You had to have been here live. It will be Thursday, the 7th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is 48 hours from now. And they are asking where to message you.
You could either message me. It's best to just send a message directly to support@tacticalarbitrage.com. Or if you're on the TA website, there's a little icon down in the bottom right-hand corner of the page, and that is the live chat. And if I don't get that message, then one of my guys will be informed about this situation.
I hope you guys understand
Your team
this.
is going to be like, you did what now?
Oh,
so good.
Alex has got my support for life. He's amazing.
I've been doing my best to try and get together with you guys for a webinar for a while, and I feel like we finally got there anyway. So this is a good thing. I appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. All right, that wraps up tonight's show, guys. I hope you guys are going to take advantage of this. I'm going to be there in the webinar too, as long as you don't mind crashing in there, because we've always got more to learn. So I would love to sit there and pick your brain too inside of there. So it's going to be a private webinar. You guys can get more in depth with this. So I'm pumped for it. It's going to be great.
Yep, absolutely.
One last time, since Audrey asked, so the code Rockstar, not right this second if you're watching live, give Alex a minute to do some adjusting.
Right.
Rockstar will get you 10 days for a $1 trial.
Yep.
And then after that, you get 10% off for the lifetime of your subscription. So keep that on the down low. Let's keep it in this little community we got here.
Nobody blow up the social media.
All right, my friend.
Blast that out on social media.
Yeah, for sure. You rock. Thank you. We appreciate it. And the webinars, we'll set up times and blast it out to you guys when they're done. They will be recorded too, so we'll make sure just you members get a hold of that.
Yep.
All right, you guys have an amazing night. Alex, you the man. Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
We'll see you guys soon.
Cheers, guys.